Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker. Look here, y'all. I'm going to tell you a story about the time I looked down and I found somebody's pack of drugs, and all kinds of stuff was in it, right? And, you'll be surprised at what could happen to you by way of keeping somebody's stuff in the penitentiary. Right now, if you're on the streets and you look down and you find some money or you find somebody's property or something like that, right? You go to the police department, turn it in. Well, that's what you're supposed to do. I don't know if anybody actually does that, but you turn it in, you fill out this paperwork. If nobody claims it, you own the property. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows the story, right? But what if you find something that's illegal? Do you turn that into the police? You're supposed to, but in prison, what do you do? Right? What do you do, right? That's what this story is about, right? Because a lot of things happen to me and a few of the guys out of this story. You'll be surprised at the things that you have to go through in here when you fall into a situation like this, right? But I just want to share this with you. It's kind of funny, but it's something that you can learn from too, right? Again, like I always say, I want to share all the true stories about my experiences and those that I've been fortunate enough to hear or be a part of in some kind of way. Right, because this is something that I don't think a lot of people would necessarily want to talk about, but I'm going to talk about it, you know what I'm saying, because the name of this show is Doing Time with Joe, so we finna get ready to do some time with this story, y'all. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Now check me out, y'all. Check this out, this story right here. I was up on the ball field one day. This was back in the early 2000s, right? Some of y'all that's listening to this show might be thinking, man, I was up there then. I ain't going to tell you where I was at. But anyway, if you know my timeline about where I've been in the state, you'll probably be able to figure out where I was at. But anyway, check this out. I was at this facility, right? And me and one of my guys, we went up on the ball field. You know what I mean? And while we was up there, we just sitting at the picnic table, chilling, minding our own business, right? And a couple of guys, they was in this other group. I'm not even going to tell you what it was, right? Could have been Crips, Bloods, Vice Lords, whatever. Aryan Nation. I'm not going to tell you which group this was, okay? So don't even ask. You feel what I'm saying? Because they might think back, I remember that, blah, blah, blah. Joe T told me he didn't have it. But anyway, I'm not going to go through that right now. But here's the story, right? We was sitting up there at the picnic table, chilling, minding our own business, right? And they called changeover. And changeover is when you get the opportunity to leave the ball field or come down to the ball field. It's up to you. You got 10 minutes to move. So, you got to do what you got to do, right? So the majority of people were leaving the ball field. And I seen this group of guys that I'm cool with, I'm familiar with, right? And they were leaving the ball field and they were talking and whatnot. And as they were walking, my partner seen something fall out of one of them's pocket. He hit me with the elbow. Joe T, you see that? And I look, I was like, nah, what happened? He said, man, they dropped something. I'm like, oh, okay then. I'm looking at him and, he's saying, well, we're going to wait till they leave and see if they leave. Then we're going to go over there. I'm like, man, it probably ain't nothing. They probably just threw that out their pocket, man. He's like, no, man. They didn't even recognize it. I'm looking at him. It fell right out of the dude's pocket. I said, all right, we'll go over that in. Now, I'm staring at this area. I don't really see nothing. You know what I'm saying? And at this time, I got pretty good eyes. You know what I'm saying? But I can't see. I don't see what he sees anyway. So all of them leave. And I'm like, look at this. He said, come on. We get up from the table and we start walking over to the area. And when we get over to the area, he said, stop. And he said it in such a way, it scared me, right? Because let me give you the backstory on why that scared me, right? Now, we've been up on the ball field before, and this brother here, he likes to play jokes and stuff, right? So one day I was up on the ball field, and it was a snake up there. Now, I don't like snakes, y'all. The human kind or the real kind, I don't like snakes. So I'm up there, and the brother said, stop. And I stopped. And then I looked down, instinctively I looked down, and I saw this snake. Look here, y'all. I wanted to run, but my feet wouldn't move. Scared me to death. So I know what type of brother I'm dealing with. So when we were walking towards this area where he said something fell out of one of the guy's pockets, he said, stop. And it made me flash back. Uh-oh. Old memory. He's playing. He said, look down. I couldn't do it, y'all. He said, look down, Joe T. I looked down and I seen this bomb wrapped up in the black electrical tape. Because, when you get a pack in the penitentiary, it's usually wrapped up in black electrical tape. You feel what I'm saying? And there's a story behind that. You wrap it up in that black electrical tape, it usually come through the metal detector. Plus, when whoever the female is that brings it in, or in some cases dudes, whatever, you feel me? Whoever that is, when they put the plastic on it or the condom on the outside, it slips right up in them. Oop, bam, they walk right on through the gate when they come in with it, right? But anyway, when I look down, I seen this black electrical tape. Man, I know that look. And this bomb here was bigger than my hand. You know what I'm saying? Looked like a twice the size of a zip. You know what I'm saying? And it was fat. So I'm saying to myself, dang, whoever bought that in, spread them wide open like a smoker. You feel what I'm saying? But look here. I look down. Me and him, both of us, we just start looking around to see if anybody's watching us, because in the penitentiary, everybody's watching everybody at all times. But the majority of people were gone off the ball field. Most of the people were under the weight pile. Wasn't paying no attention to us, you know what I'm saying? And it's on a Saturday morning too, right? So most people are visiting all this and that. So I ease down like something's wrong with me, trying to stretch. Then I get on down and I pick it up. I said, got a little weight to it. Raise up, put it in my pocket. And we walk around the track a couple of times, just talking, trying to play it off, but we're really trying to eyeball and see, did anybody see us and is anybody paying attention to us? And we concluded no. Whether it was true or not, who knows, who cares? We walked back to the back of the ball field where we were sitting at earlier. On that bench, we got on that bench. He got on one side so he could see behind me. I got on the other so I could see behind him. We got everything covered in case somebody walk up on us on either side, break that pack out. I pulled that thing out, set it on the table, and I'm peeling the tape off of it. And he was like, hold up, don't be moving so fast, you don't know what's in it. I'm like, that's what's up. So I'm pulling, I'm trying to make sure, because we got to use this tape to rewrap this bomb. We got to walk up off his ball field. We can't walk up off his ball field with something that's not wrapped up, right? You never know what you might have to do. And plus, the police are always watching. So I'm getting the tape off. I get the whole top layer off. I get the next layer off, right? When I get it off, I knew what it is. Anyway, I knew what some of it was. I smell that weed. It's some of that ooh-wee, good golly, Miss Molly. I'm talking about it is strong. I'm like, man, I look at him. He look at me. We start laughing like, oh, they going to miss this. Oh, my God. Now, look, keep in mind, I had quit smoking at this time, but I was still getting money. So, it is what it is, right? But I know good product when I smell it. Just keeping it 100 with y'all, right? Keeping it 100. So I finished unwrapping, and then I see something that's white in it. I said, oh, they blew wreck for real. You know what I'm saying? And it's some of that hard cocaine. Wasn't no rock. But it's like it just been broke off the brick. Some of that powder. I said, man, now you smell it. You know that smell of that medication. Well, let me correct that. I know most of my listeners are not in the streets. I feel you. I'm going to give y'all the benefit of the doubt. You feel what I'm saying? But those of you that have been out there know what I'm talking about. When you smell that medication, when I say medication, I'm talking about that dope. You know what that smell is. That cocaine, that real good cocaine, it smell like medication. So I smelled, I looked at him, and he looked at me, man. We was like, man, somebody is going to be mad today. They done dropped the whole bomb. And it looked like it's almost an ounce of cocaine. And that's a lot of cocaine in the penitentiary. Let me give you an example of why I say that's a lot of cocaine. On the streets, you got your ounce of cocaine, you selling it piece for piece, you might make you 12, 13 hundo. You might, just depending if you're cutting it, whatever you're doing, how big your pieces are, all of this and that. In the penitentiary, I know y'all ain't gonna believe this. I know you ain't gonna believe it, but I'm gonna tell you what it is, man. I have made up to, back in the day when I was backsliding, gotta always put that out there, I made up to $7,500 off a zipper powder. Yes, that's right, 75. And I wasn't tripping, I wasn't trying to charge the dude. I felt guilty about it, I was making so much money. I tried to get him to just buy the whole thing at one time for $2. Wouldn't do it. He wanted it piece by piece because he was rich. He said, Joe T, you need the money. I said, well, thank you. Sure do. Let me get it. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, when I saw that, I was like, man, money time. Because that particular weekend, I had put off anything coming in to me, right? Because, my mule, his gal, didn't want to come up here to see him that weekend. So I couldn't get nothing. So I'm just chilling. You feel me? But not now. Me and my bro, we got that pack now. Somebody else's pack anyway. Now I kept opening and ripping it open, right? And then I seen like 2 or 3 lighters, some papers. I said, oh, they got the weed in the smoke. The powder in the cell, I'm assuming. But then I got to thinking about the individuals that dropped the pack. Oh, they get down. This was probably that get high pack. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, we sit there on the ball field. Now we're trying to calculate. Man, we can't just break out with this thing. Because if we break out with this pack, it's going to be some problem. People going to know, you know what I'm saying, that we didn't go to visit. And if somebody come up with a pack all of a sudden, they're going to pump down on them. And keep in mind, this is a game. Again, like I said, I ain't going to tell y'all which group it is because you might be listening. You might be listening to this episode. You feel what I'm saying? And anyway, so we got to figure out how we're going to break out this pack and get this money. So we get on back up off the ball field, and we both of us live in the same unit, right? So I go to the cell. I put my cell out. I said, man, I need a room for a minute. It's about 20, 30 minutes before the lockdown. So me and bro and I talking like, man, what we going to do? How we going to do this, right? I said, look, this is what we going to have to do. We have to wait to see if anybody else is breaking out any dope this weekend, right? So he said, okay, that's what we're going to do. So anyway, here's the thing. He had to leave the cell. Now, I tell him, you take the pack with you. I ain't trying to get caught with it. You never know when they might shake down. You just never know. So I give it to bro. He cool with it. He ain't tripping. He all the way with it, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And taking all the charges. So he take the pack with him. I look at him before he leave. I said, look here, bro. Don't go in the pack, man. Don't go in that pack. He said, bro, I ain't going to go in the pack. But he give me that look. And I got to thinking, oh, I might need to keep the... He said, bro, I ain't going to go in the pack. I said, man, if we mess up now, we're going to cause a lot of problems. We're going to bring a lot of heat to the fam, man. And then we're going to have to deal with it. And I'll throw you under the bus. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? He was like, man, you tripping. I said, man, take this pack, put it up. Don't you open this pack, man, and come back down here as soon as the count clear. We're not going to chow today, which I don't go to chow anyway, but he usually does. I'm letting him know, you ain't going to eat. We finna figure out what we going to do with this, right? Because we got to see what's going on. Figure out what's going on in the compound. So they do their count. After the count clear, he comes back down to the cell. I asked my seller, look, I need the cell. I need you to step out for a minute. He steps out. My brother step in. We in the cell. We trying to figure out, okay, let's do it like this. 50-50 down the middle. There ain't no question about that. That's what it was going to be anyway. We split it. Now I say, this is what we're going to do. Now one of us is going to sell nothing out this pack until we know if it's some more dope on this compound. And we ain't going to know if it's any more dope on this compound until we go to the ball field in a few minutes to see if anybody see if anybody struck at visit or whatever the case may be. Because that's when people break out their pack. After they come from visit, after visitation over, after the 4 o'clock count clear, everybody coming out because everybody's looking for that weed, they're looking for that dope, they're trying to enjoy the football games, basketball game, whatever's on TV. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to lean back, get their smoke on, get their snort on, whatever it is they want to do. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is come down to the ball field unless the people live in your pod. But most of the time, you got to come to the ball field, get that pack, and then you gone up off the ball field and you lean back in your room and you do what you do, right? But in this situation, we go to the ball field like everybody else. Now, we don't take the dope with us. Because you got to be careful. Police is everywhere at all times. And they might say, get on the wall. And they ain't no saying I'm not going to do it. You got to get on the wall, take that pet down. But in this situation, we're not worried about that, right? Because we don't hear the dope in his cell, not mine. You keep in mind, his cell, not mine. Get down on the ball field. Now we looking, we scoping. I said, bro, go see if anybody got any smoke for sale. This is another brother. He was like, yeah, you buying your tea? I said, man, look here, you know I don't buy. I don't do none of that. But find out who's got that pack. He going, he looking. He's still thinking I'm going to buy, but even though I done told him I ain't going to buy, but it's like he can't understand why I would be asking him to go do that. You feel what I'm saying? Unless I'm finna buy something. So he go and he finds somebody that got some weed. I said, you got any money? He was like, nah. I said, okay then. I'm just trying to see what's going on. He said, man, loan me something, man. Let me get me a smoke sack. I said, okay then. I'll loan you something. I'm going to tell him to give it to you. I'll pay him later, right? But you owe me. Because I don't buy no dope, y'all. I don't do none of that. I don't do none of that. For real. Every time I done got some dope, somebody gave it to me. I ain't buying nothing. So anyway, here we go. He bring the weed back. I said, man, let me check that out. I open up the little pack. Now, the weed at that time, we getting it in sugar packs, right? The blue pack. Everybody that's been locked up know what that is. That's sugar. You know what I'm saying? That they sell us. You take the sugar, pour it out of the pack, and then you blow it like that. Make sure all the little residue is up out of it. Then you stuff it with that weed, right? You fill it up to the top. Fold it just a little bit over the top. That's 20. You feel what I'm saying? One thimble cap. And if anybody know what a thimble cap is, when I'm talking thimble, I'm talking about a sewing thimble. What you use when you sew. See, a lot of y'all out there probably ain't sold nothing in your life because you ain't had to. Take it to the dry cleaners or something like that, or let your grandparents or somebody like that sew it up for you. But in here, we got to sew our clothes. We can't go to Walmart or the mall and get something new every time. If we get a hole in the sock, sew that thing up. You feel what I'm saying? So they sell sewing kits in here, right? So the thimble is what we use to measure out how much we're going to put in the pack on that dope. One thimble, $20. Two, three, all that. It keeps going up and up and up, right? So anyway, I open it up, I blow it. So, smell on that thing. Oh, it's pretty good. But it don't smell like the weed that we found. I said, man, that's what's up. I got you though, bro. Here you go. I handed it to him. I said, man, enjoy it. I said, don't forget though, right? You owe me. He said, I got you, bro. Anyway, now I'm talking to bro. You know, everybody walk away. I'm talking to bro. I said, man, we can break it out, but we taking a chance. I said, let's see if anybody got any cocaine though. So bro and them coming back to the table, they feeling good. They been smoking that weed, right? So they coming back to the table. I said, man, ain't nobody got no dope? Man, it's going to be a dry weekend around here. You know what I'm saying? They was like, Joe T, man, you didn't go to visit. You don't know what's going on. Ain't nobody got no dope. I said, man. In my mind, I'm saying that, right? Not out loud so they can hear me and understand what I'm going through. Because I don't want nobody to know, you know what I'm saying, that we got that pack. Somebody else's pack at that. So anyway, long story short on that part of it, right? I'm saying to bro, can't break his cocaine out. If ain't nobody on this compound got no cocaine, we can't break it out. Because these dudes by now is looking. I'm telling you, they're looking. So at the end of the day, we sitting over there on the picnic table just chilling. And here they come. They walking down on the ball field. Now, it's a lot of people out, but it's not a whole lot because a lot of people go to chow hall at that time too, right? And they eat, and then they'll come to the ball field after they finish eating. But here we are, we sitting down, and now these dudes that lost the pack, they walking around. And the whole time they're walking around, they're just like y'all out there on them phones, looking down. They're looking down at the ground. Because ain't nothing been broke out yet other than this other type weed, and I'm sure they know that type of weed that broke out ain't the weed that they had. So they looking. They walking around, they looking at the ground, and they come over. I said, what's up? They said, what's going on, Joe? I said, what y'all got going? And he's like, oh, nothing, man. We just chilling, man. We just chilling. They really don't want to say nothing, right? And I'm like, you did that, man. Ain't nobody got nothing for sale around here? They're like, nah, man. We just looking around, just looking around. I'm like, oh, okay. Y'all keep looking at the ground. What's going on with y'all looking at the ground? Oh, nothing, man. We just walking, man, chilling, just talking. I knew then. I said, yeah. They trying to keep it on the low because people that started to come out on the ball field, they don't want somebody to walk up on it. You feel what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, me and brother and we sitting over there. Now they getting suspicious. Some of the other brothers, man, what they looking for? In the penitentiary, it don't take long to figure out what's going on. So now one of the brothers, man, they done dropped something. They done dropped something. So here I am. I'm finna throw some gas on that fire. Like, dang, they done. When would they have dropped it? They just came down here. Then one of the other brothers that was down there earlier, but he left too. He said, man, they were down here earlier, man, back here on this table back here. And I think they had that pack. I said, man, I bet they done dropped that pack. I said, you think so? He was like, yeah. And before I could even say anything, he done took out. He walking around. He got one of those type of members. Once he started thinking about it, he'll remember everywhere you been and everything. So now he's walking. He's walking. He's trying to get in front of them. They walking the laps around the track, trying not to look so obvious. He is all in the grass. He walking and he kicking. They see him kicking. I said, man, this fool here finna blow wreck for everybody. So about that time, then they start to walk towards him. And they said, man, hey, folks, what you looking for? He like, nothing, man. I'm just walking around. They know it. Now I said awkward stare towards each other. It's like, okay, he know. They were like, hey, cuz, hey, folks, if you find something, man, holler at us, man. You know, we done lost something. Then at that point, they feel like they got to confide in him and let him know that they had lost something. And if he finds it, then they'll compensate him for it. He said, oh, okay, then. He said, what was it? Man, you know, we just had a little something in the pack, man. It's about yay big, this, that, and the third, and whatnot, this, and that. So he come right back to us and report. So, man, they done lost the pack. They had some weed and cocaine and lighters and papers and everything in the pack. I said, what did they say they gonna do? I said, man, they said if I find it, man, they gonna mess with me. I said, for real? It's like that? Did they say how much? He was like, nah. He said, man, I'll take whatever. It's all good with me. I ain't got to pay for it. I'm sitting there smiling. I'm like, oh, okay. He playing the sucker role. Now he's a do boy. He's the greyhound. he helping them find the pack. You know what I'm saying? Just so he can get him something to smoke. Me and bruh sitting back, we leaning back, it's like, dog, we can't break this thing out this weekend. But next weekend, everybody know, you know what I'm saying, it's going down. Why is that? Because I'm going to make sure my mule go to visit. Whether they bring anything in for me or not, my mule going to visit. If I got to give him $20, $30 on his car so they can eat when they get that little gas money, he's going to visit. I need to make sure that he goes to visit before we break this pack out. Because I'm going to need some cover. Because this thing is about to go down. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? It's about to go down, and I'm not going to take no shorts on this, right? But here's what I'm going to do right now, though. I'm going to conclude this episode. But you're going to have to come back and check out episode 2 of this, right? When I found that pack. Then you're going to really find out how complicated this stuff gets. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.